Hey all, Tony Bing here, hello and welcome back to the channel. Now today we will be having a look at the straw poll that I put up recently, and this was all to do with the Deadpool raids and the 2-hour timer on them. This was something that as soon as players read this in the data mine, they did have a lot of concerns in regards to it. With your regular raids of course giving you the 24 hours, 2 hours is a massive reduction there. Now this particular poll, so I could capture as varied amount of opinions as possible. What I've done is I posted it in various different places, so it went on to various Discord channels, posted it on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter and also Reddit as well. So I've tried to capture as much as I could information wise, because I know the developers do love their data, and at the end of the day if you do have an argument to put forward, the best thing to do is present it with black and white data. Now if we bring up the poll here, and this has been running just over 24 hours, so the question was, are you happy with the 2-hour timer for the Deadpool raids? And the options I presented were yes, no and also no opinion as well. So we got a lot of votes there, so thank you to everyone for voting. It was 1,776 votes at the last time I counted. It's probably went up a bit more since I've done this video. I've decided a 24-hour period was long enough to actually run it. Now you can see that we have a clear winner of this particular poll. If you look at the no vote, and that's in regards to the question, are you happy with the 2-hour timer for the raids, I got a whopping 1,712 votes, so that equated for 96% of the vote. The players that said they were happy with this change, they came in at 3% and 48 votes. And then finally you had players that maybe aren't at a level where they're raiding yet, so it wouldn't affect them, and that was the no opinion column. That was only 16 votes, and that was just under 1% there. Now it is clear that the community that I've polled at least have spoken and said they're not happy in regards to this change. Now why are people not happy? I did read the comments I was getting as well. Now the biggest concern is the fact that this is not an MMO raiding game of past. When you used to raid in the likes of World of Warcraft and so on, you would have your different servers. You would maybe have an EU server, then you would have a US server, so players would all be in the same time zone, but it doesn't work this way at all. Now what I've actually done is I've got a list here of all the different time zone that the players from my particular alliance are in, and it really is massively varied. So firstly you've got a lot of players from the US, but that is Pacific and Eastern, so you've got a time difference there already. You have myself from Bonnie, Scotland. You then have a player that's from Asia. We have a player from Germany. Next up is Canada. We then have England, and then finally we've got a player all the way at the other side of the world in Australia. So an absolutely massive time difference there, and that's just for one alliance in 24 players. I imagine a lot of alliances will be in the same boat, because players recruit the best players. They don't recruit players based on regions at all. It just doesn't work that way in the game. Now why is this such a big issue? Firstly, you've got the fact that it's incredibly hard in game to actually try and organise people being on and choosing the correct routes for a raid that lasts 24 hours. To do it for a 2-hour raid is nigh on impossible. It can be done, hence why I say it's nigh on impossible, but the amount of planning and organisation it takes for what is a mobile game, it's just overkill. It's just far too much for me. Now you will inevitably have players that will miss out on this, and what that's going to lead to, it's going to lead to resentment for the players that did miss out. You're also going to have the fact that there is not a lot of room for error in this particular raid, so if anyone makes a mistake, the stakes are much higher. Now the reason the stakes are much higher is in order to get decent rewards for this, you need to complete the harder raid, and you need to 100% it. Now let's just say someone messes up, someone can't log in during that 2-hour window, or if they have an emergency and have to go, so you do have a little bit of leeway the way the lanes work, so that is one positive, but it's still, you really need everyone to be on the ball for this. So let's say you get 99% on the hard raid. So the reward for this would be 344 of the Omega shards. So you need to actually do this 7 times in order to get one Omega orb. Omega orbs are nice. We potentially were getting the shards a little bit quicker, but this really is on the low side, and it's especially on the low side when you look at the rewards for getting 100% completion on the raid. They are great, but that's one of the problems, is they are so good and this is so difficult to manage, not due to player skill, but simply down to where players are located and the country they live in. So if you 100% this, you get 620 mega orbs for first place, 2,100 Deadpool shards. That's a minimum of 5 Deadpool shards, and then you get a really nice 100 tier 4 materials. So that reward is absolutely fantastic, but the fact that for 1% less, if one person messes up during a small time window and you don't complete the raid, then you're losing roughly about 300 Mega Orb shards, you're losing 5 Deadpool shards, and you're losing 100 tier 4 materials. It's just simply too much there. And this actually leads back to the point about player resentment, because if a player messes up or if a player gets called away due to an emergency, there are going to be other players that are going to be annoyed with this player, as much as it may not have been their fault that this happened. Now, looking at the whole issue, whenever I do have a problem with anything that happens in the game, because this is something that there was a lot of issues in the last game I covered, Marvel Heroes Omega, I would always try and look at things from both points of view. So I would look at it from a player point of view, but I would also look at it from a developer point of view as well, and I would say, while the players are unhappy about this change, for the long-term health of the game this may be worthwhile, or it's an extra revenue stream and it's not punishing players too much, so I'll let it slide. I'll say it's something that's worthwhile. Now, with this, I fail to see the benefits for the player or Fox Next at the moment. The players, without a doubt, are being punished for all the points I've already covered, but with Fox Next, what are they gaining? I genuinely don't know. At the moment, you can only farm your total of 1,440 of the chimichangas within the 24-hour period, and the raid costs that much to open up. So you can only open up one raid during that 24-hour window, and the raid only takes 2 hours to run, so you're not going to be opening additional raids. Now, will they start bringing out packs within the store, and that would mean that players could run multiple raids? Potentially. Would that be an extra revenue stream? Again, potentially. Now, even if they were to do that, I feel the 2 hour window, it just isn't enough. What could happen is the window could be increased to, let's say, 8 hours. Then that way 3 raids could be ran in a 24-hour period, or it could be increased to 24 hours. It does create a bit more pressure than the raids that do run for 24 hours there, but what you're doing is you're giving players a bit more leeway, whilst at the same time it allows Foxnet the opportunity to sell some chimichanga packs to Wales and help finance the game and keep the lights on. Now, the last fact I actually want to touch on is something I mentioned in earlier videos, and this comes back to communication. Now, it also comes back to a good example having Marvel Heroes Omega. That was a game that made a lot of questionable decisions. Now, on various occasions, the decision would be made to change something in game and players were scratching their head and they didn't know why. And then what happened is there would be a developer that would actually post a quite lengthy developer post. It was normally a developer called Michael Mayhem. He was very good at that. And what he would do is he would actually lay down the case and rationale for the particular change. And on a lot of occasions, there was something that players were maybe railing against and had the pitchforks out, and then once the developer actually provided rationale for the change, it made a lot more sense for players, and players were a lot more accepting. Now, that won't always be the case. Sometimes changes are made and no matter what a developer says, it's not going to change because the change is just so anti-player as this particular change appears to be. But what I would say is, I would hope that Fox Next, on the back of this particular poll and seeing how unpopular it is with a varied community, and remember the community I polled was on Discord, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter and Reddit, but I would hope this would prompt some kind of communication. The communication could be that they're taking on board their feedback and they're going to actually change the structure of how these work. And as mentioned, I think changing them to maybe a slightly longer time scale, be it 4 hours, 8 hours or 12 hours, would keep the pressure on, make things a bit different, but it would also take the pressure off players. So hopefully that would happen. If it doesn't, if we at least get some kind of communication here to let us know the rationale for it, then players may be a bit more accepting and it will create a better feeling within the community at the moment. And that is without a doubt something the community could do with. We just actually had the Mystic campaign opened up. Within that campaign we got 3 new characters to farm. We got Cable, who's awesome, Doctor Strange, who's awesome, and Vision as well. Now that's an absolutely fantastic change. That's something that everyone should be overjoyed about, but it's been completely overshadowed by recent changes within the game, and that is a massive shame that that has happened. So I hope that covers everything. Once again, once I start one of these videos, it runs a bit longer than expected, so thanks for bearing with me through this. Do let me know in the comments below what you think about this particular poll, and If you have any ideas how they can actually adjust the structure they've got here for the Deadpool raids while keeping the core idea that developers have, where we feel a bit more rushed and tacked, then do let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all again soon.